You're going in the wrong hole. Was them 10, 15, 20 minutes worth it? I'm sure it was not worth it. Your number of partners, because that shit is gonna hurt. Boy, what were you doing? What were you doing? Like, I'm sorry. Do we have to be doing that in 2020? Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back. So, as promised, I am back with another unfiltered, honest sex Q&A. As always, please interact with this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, just do something, please. Just let YouTube know you're enjoying these sexy chats, okay? So I'm not going to sit here and waffle. We're going to get right to the questions, the reason you're here. So the first question is it normal to get depressed and sad right after sex? Is there something wrong with me? Also, got my nails done. She got her nails done. Oh, got my hair cut, got my nails done, got my brows threaded. I honestly feel like a new woman, like a brand new spanking woman who just popped out of the womb and is ready to thrive, hopefully. Universe, please let me thrive for once. Please. Said I wasn't going to waffle, starts waffling. Okay, so back to the question. There is nothing wrong with you whatsoever. So anytime I wasn't in a relationship, if I was to ever have sex, I would also get very depressed and sad after it. So I'd only get depressed and sad if it was like a casual sex kind of thing and there was nothing serious going on between us. And maybe that's what's happening with you too. Like, it's with people where there's nothing deeper and it's solely just sex. And I came to realise that casual sex doesn't suit me. Sex without anything deeper, sex without connection, sex without that soul connection doesn't do it for me. I have no interest in it. It doesn't get me off. It makes me sad. It makes me feel shit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I feel like more people are kind of like that regards casual sex than not, because humans, like, we're made to form deep connections with people and we're made to connect with one another. I went through the exact same thing, and for me it was like a realization, and maybe that's what's happening for you too. Like, you're just realizing something else about yourself and something that you aren't really maybe that interested in. Because anytime I've ever had sex and it's been like deeper connecting, like there's been something there between us and there's been something solid, I've never came away feeling sad and depressed. I know in our generation, like, casual sex is a very big thing and it's something a lot of people do, but if that's not for you, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I realised very quickly that it wasn't for me. Okay, so moving on. The next question is how to deal with dryness down there during sex due to birth control pills. So I know this is something that a lot of women suffer with, and I have definitely struggled and suffered with this in the past as well. Birth control pills are a bitch. They give us so many problems. Like, can we not create something for us women where we won't have all these side effects? Because having to choose between your mental health and pregnancy, it's really, like, do we have to be doing that in 2020? My best advice for you is lube will be your best friend. Like, I could not recommend it enough, because that is exactly what lube is for, and exactly what lube was made for is vaginal dryness. Using lube isn't something you should be ashamed about. I feel like there is a little bit of a stigma around lube. Like, you should be able to get wet all by yourself, but it's like, no, because so many things can contribute to a woman having vaginal dryness. For example, so many different kind of medications. Antidepressants also can cause vaginal dryness, like your mental state, like hormones, like there's so many factors which can contribute to it. So don't be ashamed about using lube. The only thing I'd say is, if you're using condoms, make sure you use a water-based or silicone-based lube. Do not under any circumstances use an oil-based lube, because that can break down the latex in condoms and you don't want that. Our next question, and a very good question if you ask me, is I am 22 and only have had 5 partners. It makes me insecure that guys my age I date have had 2 to 3 times more. I find this question so interesting because I feel like this is something that a lot of girls think and worry about. First of all, can we just say that quantity does not equal quality, and that is so important. Quantity does not equal quality, okay? Just because somebody, okay, so just say, put it this way, somebody may have had sex with 30 people and then you may have only had sex with 5 people, but you could have had a lot more sex with them 5 people than this person has had with them 30 people. So therefore, the number of people you have sex with does not equal how good you are in bed, or like, you know what I mean? I personally haven't had a lot of partners compared to most people I know, but I have probably had a lot more sex than people who have had a lot more partners than me, because I've been in a few relationships. So obviously in a relationship you're going to have a lot more sex, and that equals quality, not partners. Like, I feel like if somebody slept with 30 people but majority of them people have only been one night stands, that's shit sex. Like, for the most part, one night stands, it's not going to be good sex for the most part, because you don't know each other, you don't know each other's bodies, you know, you haven't had time to get to know each other and explore and kind of, you know, have sex a few times to get to learn about each other. You know how it goes. So I really wouldn't be insecure about it. Like, there is nothing to be insecure about. Like, your number does not mean anything. I remember after my first long-term relationship ended and I first slept with somebody else, and the person that I'd slept with at the time had had quite a lot of sexual partners compared to me, because I'd only had one at that time, and he was no honey, no. Boy, what were you doing? Like, I'm sorry, but that was not a good experience for me. And you know, you would have thought that because he had a lot of partners, that means he would be very good in bed. But he wasn't, and it's not always how it works. I feel like you've got to be your own hype woman. Like, you've just got to. Like, since I was like 19, I was never worried or insecure before going in and having sex with someone, because my mindset was, they're lucky to be sleeping with me. Like, bitch, I know I've got it going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to hype yourself up. Like, you've got nothing to be insecure about. They're lucky that they're even getting to sleep with you. And your number of partners is no reflection of your experience or your anything. And even if you are less experienced than them, it doesn't matter. Like, people are never going to be on the exact same level. And also, people like different sex. Like, some people like very, like, normal, vanilla kind of sex. Some people like it rough. Some people like it kinky. You know what I mean? So all these factors do play into it. So I just be like, hype yourself up. Remember that quantity doesn't equal quality, and stop overthinking, because that's all you're doing. Stop it. Moving on, our next one is sex really that bad with condoms? Now, something that I have heard a lot of over the years is people talking about how shit sex is with condoms. And I feel like it's very damaging that people do that, because it makes young people who have not yet had sex have this really negative association with condoms, when sex really is not that bad with condoms. I personally think the only time sex is bad with condoms is when there's not enough lubrication. But it's the same way as sex without a condom is also going to be bad without lubrication, because that shit is going to hurt. You need lubrication whether you're using a condom or not. So I feel like that's something that's not spoken about enough. Like, you know, just make sure you've got some water-based lube on hand, and sex is not that bad with a condom. It's not. You're able to get really thin condoms, you're able to get condoms with ribs on them and like little things that make it more pleasurable for the woman, but it's not like, I've had quite a lot of sex with condoms, and I've had some really good sex with condoms. Like, I would not recommend not using a condom unless you're in a relationship, a committed relationship where you know you're safe and you've not got STIs to worry about. Like, you know, what is the point in you going, having sex with some stranger and being like, oh, I'm not going to use a condom because it doesn't feel good, for all of 10, 15, 20 minutes, like, and then you could come out of that with a bloody STI. Was them 10, 15, 20 minutes worth it? I'm sure it was not worth it for something you're going to have to now deal with. So isn't it better to use a condom and have some lube, and it's still going to feel really goddamn good? Sex can be amazing with condoms. Just make sure you've done quite a bit of foreplay so you're nice and warmed up, and then you've got your lube on hand and you've got nothing to worry about. I absolutely hate the way people go on like that. Our next one is how to ask for more foreplay. It seems like a lot of girls really struggle with being very vocal in the bedroom and kind of expressing what they need and want. And foreplay is so important. Like, I personally feel like this is such an easy one, because it's something that I've done so many times and I've never made it a big deal in my head, because to me it's something that should be so normal. You're taking your clothes off and you're about to have sex with this person, so it should be enjoyable for the both of you. It should be, and there should be no other way about it. Like, you should not be partaking in anything where it's not enjoyable for you, because if you're just lying there and not saying what you need or what you want, you're basically just letting them use you, and you're not getting everything you could be getting out of it. I'm obviously assuming you're talking about a man-woman relationship here, because foreplay regards girl on girl, I don't think would ever be an issue, because there's going to be a lot of foreplay. Because if it's girl on girl, they know what they need for their bodies, so they're going to also know what you need. Whereas when it's a man and woman, like, men and women's bodies work very differently, and I feel like that's something you need to express to your partner. Be like, look, men and women are so different. Like, a man can literally just get an erection and go. He can good to go. But we can't do that. But yeah, just explain that we're different, and just explain to him that in order for sex to be as pleasurable as it possibly can be for you, you need quite a little bit of warming up. And like, if you explain this to him, he will be so happy to do that, because he wants it to be as enjoyable and as pleasurable as it can be for you as well. Like, if this is your partner, or this is somebody you are regularly sleeping with, or friends with benefits, or whatever it may be, like, they care about your needs as well, so they'd be more than happy for you to be speaking out about what you need, because they're not a mind reader. They cannot know what you need if you don't tell them. Like, if you're not telling them that you need more foreplay and you're just going along with it all the time, they're just going to assume that you're happy with that, and then that you don't need anything else. Again, positive reinforcement. Like, you know, if he's fingering you or he's going down on you, just keep telling them how much you're enjoying that. Or like, after sex, tell him that sex was so much better because he spent time doing more foreplay or whatever. And yeah, just communicate. Like, that is literally all you can do. Men don't need as much foreplay for us, so they wouldn't really understand it, you know, so you've got to express it to them. Our next question is it wrong that you put it in my ass without asking? I mean, it was fine, but I wonder. No, that was not fine. That is sexual assault, if you ask me, because he was doing something without your consent, without your permission, something that you're clearly not happy with. Like, I know you say it was fine, but I kind of get the feeling there that he's your partner and you're just like, oh, he can do what he wants, it's fine. But no, he can't. Just because you're in a relationship with somebody, it doesn't give them the right to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. Like, they've still got to get consent from you, and you've still got to say, okay, yes, I want to do it, no, I don't. I've had a couple of people try to do that to me before, and do you know what I did? I said, wrong hole. You're going in the wrong hole. And I know that they're doing it on purpose, but I will straight up, I'll push them out and I'll go, what are you doing? That's the wrong hole. I've done it quite a lot of times. And I don't care if I'm ruining the mood. I don't care if it's going to annoy you. You're not doing something that you don't have my consent to do. And you're not just going to put it in my ass because you feel like putting it. No. You've got to realise that's not acceptable, and it's not okay. It doesn't matter who they are. If they're your boyfriend, your husband, it doesn't matter. You've got to get very strong on being very vocal. And I know at the start it might be hard, because when I started speaking up and being more vocal in bed, there were times, like the first few times, I was like, oh my god, like, but now it's like second nature to me, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because the most important thing is that you feel comfortable and you come away from it feeling satisfied, and you're not coming away from it going, why did that happen, or why did that happen? Like, there's been times where I've had sex and after it I've thought back and been like, you know what, I'm really not comfortable that they did that or this or that, and I've literally sat them down and gone, okay, so this just happened, and I'm just after realising that that is not okay. You shouldn't have done that without asking me, yada yada yada. You know, you've got to get really strong about that kind of stuff, because it's your body, it's your home, and nobody has the right to do anything that you don't want them to do. So our next question is, I feel really self-conscious of my boobs because I'm only a B cup, and afraid anyone I sleep with would laugh at me because I wear quite heavily padded bras. Girlfriend, I know, I completely get where you're coming from, completely. Okay, so I was a B cup for a few years as well, and I used to wear padded bras too, but let me just tell you, they don't care. Don't be worried about anyone laughing at you. Like, first of all, you've got to understand that most girls wear padded bras, like, at some stage or another. It's going on a night out for dinner, on holidays, whatever it might be, because even if you've got big boobs, padded bras will like make them sit up here. Do you know what I mean? Like give you the look that you have a boob job when you don't have a boob job. So even girls that have big boobs who don't need to wear a padded bra will still wear it because it makes them feel better. And that's why we do anything, because it makes us feel more confident and makes us feel better. It's why I get my nails done, because I feel better about myself when I have my nails done. I have never had anyone laugh at me, say anything, nothing. If I have gone to have sex with somebody and I have had a padded bra on, they're just like delighted to be seeing my tits and feeling them, and you know what I mean, like they don't care, they do not care. I also feel like most men know, they can tell by the look of your boobs if you're wearing a padded bra. Like it's so obvious. Like if your boobs are sitting up here and they look so perfectly like round or whatever, like you're probably wearing a padded bra, and most men know that because most men probably have had a lot of experiences sleeping with girls where they've taken off their padded bra, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like it's so normal, and I feel like that's just you overthinking. Like there were times in the past where I was wearing a padded bra, going to have sex with somebody, and like, oh my god, like thinking the way you were thinking, but they literally didn't even bat an eyelid. Like they just wanted the bra off so like they could see my boobs, you know what I mean? Something that I could suggest though, and it might help you because it really helped me, is that I stopped wearing bras the last couple of years, like for the most part, because I was so insecure of my small boobs that like I wasn't comfortable with them, and like I was going around all day looking at my boobs and they just seemed so much bigger than they were, and then obviously I'd take my bra off and I'd be like, oh hi friends, like how you keeping? And I remember just getting to a point where I was like, I want to just be so confident with my boobs, which I am now. Like I'm so confident with them. Even right now, like I'm not wearing a bra right now, so not wearing a bra might make you feel more confident and more comfortable with your boobs. That might be something you can just try, like not wear a bra more days of the week than you wear a bra, because I feel like we can just get so used to covering something up that we're not like dealing with that insecurity. And like you shouldn't be insecure about having small boobs. Like, you know, embrace them. Like just fucking embrace them. Okay, so our next question is, what's the protection to use while having girl-on-girl sex to prevent STIs? So a dental dam is going to be your best friend when it comes to girl-on-girl sex with preventing STIs. So it's basically just a very thin, soft plastic square, and you're just going to use this to cover the genitals, and that is going to be your best friend when it comes to protecting yourself against STIs. Again, just wash your hands before and after sex, because some STIs can be transmitted from like touching and just skin on skin. And then another thing that a lot of girls do use are latex gloves, so that's another option if you want to just make sure you're completely protected. I personally have never used latex gloves, but you know, it's something that you could definitely look into because I know a lot of girls do. Okay friends, so I've got a bunch more questions, but I'm going to leave them for another sex Q&A video because I don't want to make these videos too long and too overwhelming because we touch on so many topics during them. But make sure to follow my Instagram if you do want to get involved and ask me any more questions for my next sex Q&A. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this and that I maybe helped you a little bit. I honestly am never going to stop talking about sex and doing these kinds of videos on my channel because I feel like it's so important. We just keep the conversation going and that we get comfortable and we normalize it because it should be so normal and it's nothing to be ashamed about. But yes, I love you all so very much and I cannot wait to see you all in my next video. Bye bye friends.